Hello, my fairy tale things, Austin the Brimstone here. And I took a trip to Walmart, and he just followed me home. I actually did get quite a few comments saying I needed to check out this large-size Sonic because it is the Sonic figure. And yeah, I mean, just look at this guy. Look how cool he is. He's big. I had trouble framing this video so you can see the whole figure. It's so big, it takes up most of the camera. And you can see he's very poseable, and he's got a little button here you can press.
Holy sherbert!
And he talks. And that's when I was sold, because I've always had a soft spot for these kind of big, chunky, talking figures. I know the definitive collecting, scale is 6 inches now, and I do love 6 inches. That's kind of the standard for the Sonic figures and also the Shrek figures I feature on this channel quite a lot. But speaking of Shrek, my favorite Shrek just happens to be the big talking one they made all the way back in 2001. And I remember places like Spencer Gifts and Suncoast Motion Picture Company, if anyone's old enough to remember that, they would have a whole aisle of these types of figures. You would kind of,
Hello there, my name's Shrek.
like that, push a button and they speak. Just kind of like a nice gift. Not necessarily a part of the main toy line, but a supplemental item. And these figures were big in the 2000s. I have Shrek here, and I also have Scrat from Ice Age. And yeah, this is an action figure, believe it or not. I know it looks like a plush, but he actually does have hard posable joints. He just has plush elements. And this guy's great. You can have, there's a little... Yeah, he has his little acorn here, and he doesn't shut up until you attach it back on. Every parent regretted buying this one. And I even have Sonic, the original big talking Sonic. For a long time, this is like what we thought we were going to get for big talking Sonic. I believe Jazzwares may have made one later on, though I don't remember if that talked. The diehard Sonic fans will know. But this guy right here, and I've always loved this figure. The sculpting is not exactly accurate, but it is very charming. It does look like the Dreamcast Adventure era Sonic. There's no doubt, who this is. And this one's seen a lot of play. It's, 20 years old at this point? God, Sonic Adventure was, 25 years ago now? I feel so old. And his button is, stuck. He doesn't even talk anymore. You can't even push the button down. But he always made for a great display piece, and I kind of kept him up there with my Jack Sonic figures. But as much as it pains me to throw this guy under the bus, this is no longer the talking Sonic, because, my friends, this guy kind of pales in comparison to this guy here. I mean, to even say this is a large-sized talking Sonic is kind of a liberal definition compared to this guy here. This guy is huge. This is a real, 13, 14-inch Sonic doll. I mean, it's really impressive. And, it's the movie Sonic, it's not the game Sonic, so it's kind of like apples to oranges here. But one thing that the movie Sonic toys do really well is they are proportionate to action figures a lot more than the game designs. So with the game Sonic characters, they have really spindly limbs, right? They're those rubber hose cartoon characters. And with the toys, they always had to have a bit of creative license. They couldn't just adapt the game models to plastic because the joints would be too thin. So they always gave them kind of thicker features, and they looked very chunky. And that's not a bad thing. Like I said, I like chunky 90s figures. They're very charming. But if you want a definitive modern articulation on a Sonic figure, that is challenging to do on the game designs. And Jax has done pretty good with walking around that. I know they've done some bendy figures, and then the Sonic Prime ones I talked about on this channel, they did a really good job of, sneaking in the joints, but they were still very spindly. But this one here, the movie proportions are more human-like, and they just fit the character. I mean, just look at this. This is a great figure. Without even opening it, because the packaging practically is open, you can already tell that this is going to be a good one. Figure uses a very bright blue plastic. He almost looks like Grover from Sesame Street more than Sonic. It's interesting how Sonic has gotten much lighter over the years, just like another cartoon character I collect a lot of, Shrek. It's interesting to watch branding kind of move forward, but unlike Shrek, Sega is really, really picky with branding. They are super, super strict on merchandise of their character. So one thing I have to thank Paramount for is allowing us to get high-quality posable Sonic figures. And I don't mind the blue limbs versus the tan limbs. I know that's kind of a hot debate for the Sonic fans. I really like the movie designs. I honestly kind of prefer movie Sonic to the game Sonic. He reminds me a lot more of the 1990s cartoon Sonic, whether it was the Adventures of Sonic show or even Sonic Sat-Am, which is kind of like the golden goose of Sonic, right? We all really want that Sat-Am merchandise, and while that day may never come, I will be happy with the Paramount movie stuff. I love to see this supported. The first film, I'm just going to talk while I open this guy up. The first movie didn't have any merchandise at all, which was really curious because there was actually a leak of merchandise. Like, we knew what the card back was going to look like for the movie figures. We had a leaked style guide. So when that leaked, I thought, oh, we're going to get some movie toys. But the first movie didn't have figures. I think it had like a set you could buy. There was like a gift set where you got some of Robotnik's robots and like a little Sonic. But in terms of articulated action figures, they never released. So that probably has to do with the design change to Sonic. God, can you imagine if there were action figures out there of the original Sonic design? That would be amazing. Okay, I almost got this guy free. Relatively simple opening here. He's not held in by a bunch of stuff, which, I don't know, being an open package, that kind of worries me. One thing, you know, one reason I bought this figure so early on is because I have a feeling that not only is this merchandise going to disappear when the movie opens and probably makes like $1 billion, but being an open package, I think a lot of kids are going to play with this in store, and they're going to get pretty scuffed up. Longtime toy collectors will remember the infamous Lord of the Rings troll. They had a open packaging like this, and they were just Lord of the Rings trolls with their faces torn off for years. And I guess more recently, the Space Jam LeBron, right? The one the head popped off. Every kid just stole the head, and that kind of destroyed all the merchandise. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything, you know, in the box. Oh, here's the back of the package. I don't know why you'd want to see that. This is available at your local Target or Walmart. You could just look at it yourself. But it says that Sonic is on a roll, saved the world twice, but who's counting? And has 2 besties for his team. But will they be enough to handle a devastating new threat? Which, spoiler alert, is Shadow, but the toys are all pretty vague. I mean, we have a figure of Shadow that I did pick up, had to get the Shadow. But other than that, all the toys are very light on film details. Even Robotnik is based off of his design from the second movie. Okay, so here he is. First impressions. This is a really good 2-up, which is like what the toy industry calls a smaller figure enlarged, of the Sonic Movie 2 figure. Not the new one, not the super articulated one for Movie 3, but actually the Movie 2 figure. So here they are compared, and you can tell me if I'm crazy, but I think these are the exact same toy. Yeah, even the hands, the chest, the eyes, like this sculpt was literally just blown up to this one. So he actually does not have all the detail of the most recent Sonic 3 figure. That one's got a chest joint, he's got all sorts of extra joints in the arms and legs. This one's a bit more limited, so if you did want a super, super articulated Sonic figure, the 6-inch figure is definitely the way to go. I would so buy a Shadow in this size and have them, like, duke it out together. That would be great. But let's just look at some of the detail. Head sculpt's phenomenal. His quills are clear here, and that's because they light up. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Face sculpt is great. I do like the inset eyes. That does differ a little bit from the 4-inch figure. He did not have that, but the sculpting is the same. Here's the chest. It obviously has big cuts in it, so you could get the sound chip, because he talks, like you've seen. We'll play all the voice clips in a moment, dropping things left and right. But anyways, it's not the most accurate sculpt, but it makes for a fun toy. And I think this is something that we need more of in the toy industry. This is not the ultimate 6-inch Sonic figure, but it is a lot of fun. And I miss fun toys. Everything today is so collector-focused. I don't know if it was Funko or the rise of Marvel Legends, but it feels like everything is just about detail and scale, and there's no care for price point or fun. This figure is $40. $40. And look at this. This is great. A kid would really enjoy this, and a collector would really enjoy this. A casual person that doesn't have this Sonic madness could pick this up.
Holy Sherbert!
Just scared the bejesus out of me. Could put this next to, like, the video game display. Like, you know, I would put this by, like, a PS4 with some Sonic games lined up. That would look really classy and fun. And, it's just fun to pose him. Now, unfortunately, there's these joints in the legs here, but because of the electronics in the chest and the way the chest is sculpted, the legs don't, like, the ratchet gets stuck. So he can't sit down. That's unfortunate. But still, you know, he can do his running poses, right? So that's really what you want to use Sonic's legs for, is these running poses.
Gotta go fast!
Oh, there he goes.
Sonic.
There he goes again, talking. And then let's look at the shoes. The shoes have a lot of great detail on them. They're the movie shoes, and I do like the movie shoes a lot. They're not quite as good as the high-speed shoes from Sonic Adventure. I would love to see a toy with those, but I know there's some weird licensing stuff with those shoes being owned by Soap, the skateboard company. But, yeah, these are great. I do imagine Sonic will get some sort of shoe upgrade, maybe in the next movie or this one. So that means, you know, they'll have to make new toys. But it's a very classic, it's a very good Sonic design. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of the old cartoons. Maybe it's just the bright, vibrant nature. I mean, again, compare this guy to other Sonic figures. This guy is true blue. There's no doubt about it. And, yeah, it's fun. As a jumbo action figure, I think he totally succeeds. Yes, the articulation is not quite there, not nearly as much as the other figures, and even the sculpt is not very dynamic. It's actually just the Sonic 2 figure reused, so longtime Sonic collectors, you know, may be a little disappointed, but for casual fans, and for parents looking to buy a Sonic for their kids, you couldn't ask for a better toy. $40 and this would be your definitive Sonic. You know, I think the term superposable is used a lot these days, and had this figure come out just 10 years ago, he would have been classified as superposable. He's got ball-jointed articulation in all the key spots. Sure, it's not quite up to date with Marvel Legends and those other 6-inch lines, but for a casual item made for mass retail, under $50, it's pretty damn good. Other companies making figures of this size, I'm looking at you, Hasbro, are doing these as several $100 things that you have to get funded through ridiculous online Kickstarters and pre-orders. Meanwhile, Jax here just releases a 13-inch posable Sonic with features we haven't even looked at yet for under $50. That gets some kudos. That is pretty great. So, I think if you're a longtime Sonic fan, you may want to skip this one and focus more on building out those 6-inch figures, because those 6-inch figures for the new Sonic movie are really something special. I reviewed this Shadow, and I talked about in that video how they may be the greatest modern 6-inch figures. But for casual fans and for people who like the Sonic games and movies and can't quite commit to this, then if I had to say get one Sonic, get this one. He's great. Posable, most of all fun, detailed, and he's got action features. So let's end the video on these features. And he's now walking.
2,000 years later.
And we're outside for a very different second half of our video. So, in the original version of this video that I filmed and then deleted, I was absolutely convinced that my toy was busted and did not work, because get a load of this. Look, you push it, and nothing happens. And we tried everything. We even tried changing the batteries, which I do want to say is a pain in the butt. Now, thankfully, this toy comes with 3 Duracell batteries in here. All you have to do is take this off, and then you get the battery pack here. And changing these, I have to warn you, is a lot of trouble because the screw is really far in there. I don't know if you can tell. And his quills are right here, and the head does not turn all the way around. It feels like it's gonna break once I get to like here. So you have to use a screwdriver that's got a long stem, but not a long handle, so it doesn't bump up against the quills. So yeah, that was about a half hour of hell of me and my sister trying to figure that out. And now he's making noises. So, wait for him to finish up here. You almost done now, Sonic? You almost done charging up? Any day now. Okay, so after we did that, I went back to the bedroom and I filmed the second half where I did this, and nothing happened. And I looked at the instructions, and it said that he would talk when you press his chest, his hands, and his feet. So I stood there just kind of like doing this. Nothing happened. Then I went outside to take the photos like now, and all of a sudden, when I'm posing him, he makes noises because I had a little trouble posing this guy. The articulation is not as good as you think it is. So if you look at the legs here, they go back, and that's all you get. And they go forward, and that's all you get. So it's not, you can't recreate those Sonic Adventure poses with the legs thrown all the way out. That's pretty disappointing. And his head is so heavy because of the electronics that he just falls right over. But I noticed when I was posing him that he started making noises. So here's the deal. You push the chest down, and when it's on try me mode, he talks.
I'm Sonic.
Right? But on regular mode, nothing happens. You have to make him run. You have to make him move. So you have to hold this down, wait 2 seconds, and move him. And that's how he makes the noises. He runs. That's a fun feature, but it's not clear in the instructions at all. It just shows you pushing the chest. I sat like here for a half hour trying to figure out how this worked. So you have to push the chest in, you have to hold it down for 2 solid seconds, and then you have to move him back and forth. And he runs and lights up a little bit. Now, the voice lines are with the hands. And the hands don't have any buttons on them. Of course, there's going to be a plane overhead when I get the talking toy to work. But anyways, I'm just going to play the voice lines. You push the hands in like this.
So, do you guys want to watch a movie or what?
Like that. Well, here's some of the lines now.
All right, high five. Gotta go fast. This is Green Hills, the greatest place on earth. Meow?
That's great. That's the original trailer line. I like that.
Is that all you got? Takes more than that to stop me. Speed limit? Oh, your planet is so weird. Today is your lucky day. Luck. Funny word, isn't it? Quack, quack, quack. Aw, this one is cute. Let's keep him. Pop quiz, hotshot. Mwah, it's a classic line.
He's got a lot of voice lines. Like, seriously, wow. That talking Shrek I had only had like 3 different lines.
Holy sherbert!
I remember that one from the Try Me feature.
I'm a hedgehog. I feel like that's obvious. The face I was born with, the confidence I picked up along the way. All right, Eggman. You want to get fast? Let's get fast. No need to thank me, citizens. All in a night's work for Blue Justice.
That's funny.
Welcome to Sonic Air, the fastest way to travel. Now boarding groups 1 and 2. Trouble? Don't worry, everything here is completely normal. Yes, power bump. That's more like it. I gotta go fast. We're flying. Did your butt just turn into a helicopter? Today's forecast calls for clear sunny skies and a 100% chance of adventure. It's too easy. Come on, challenge me.
Okay, so he's got a lot of voice lines, and it really is, I believe, Ben Schwartz, the guy that plays Sonic, not a sound-alike. So I do really enjoy that. And this toy got elevated a lot more. So, Jax, if you're watching this video, and I know you aren't, please make the instructions a little more clear, because I thought my toy was totally busted. Most talking toys, you just press the button and he speaks. And the Try Me mode was that. So the Try Me mode made me think that's how it worked. But you have to push the hands in, and it's not really clear.
I don't want to fight you,
that
but you're not giving me much choice.
But when it does work, it's pretty great. So, I don't know, I don't really like rate things on a scale to 10, but this figure is like maybe a solid 7 or 8. It's fun, it's priced well, I like the voice lines, but the articulation and the big head weighing him down are obviously some real faults for an action figure. I do have to criticize that, but I do enjoy him. I would like to see a Shadow, some other characters in this line, and yeah, that is that. So, to close it off, we're going to look at some of the fun photos I took outside, well, as many fun photos as I could get with this figure, given his limited articulation, that also made me discover how this figure actually worked, and had to remake the video. I've literally been talking about this toy for like a solid hour and a half now. God help me. Okay, so let's look at the photos. Thanks for watching, and have a happily ever after. Behold the shoes. Kind of disappointing that he doesn't light up when he does that. And it's very loud.